everyone. Welcome back to another exciting new episode of Queerspace TV, which is the LA-based showcase series which you know and love, the online broadcast that provides a platform for the amazing artists in our scene within the LGBTQIA, queer, POC, underground art. That's what we're all about here at Queerspace.
While also celebrating the darker side of queer identity in the community and worldwide. We are your hosts, and tonight we have a very incredible guest that we are interviewing today. She is an emerging multidisciplinary artist and is specializing in installation, sculpture, and pushing photography into the third dimension.
Yeah, and not only is she an amazing installation and sculpture artist, her project Access Denied calls out inaccessible art spaces in LA, forcing people to look at the reality of how disabled bodies are constantly denied physical access to a number of art, music, and performance spaces around the city. So please welcome Jaklin Romine.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for doing this. How have you been? What are some of the crazy challenges you face being an artist in this unprecedented time?
Oh, well, I guess now it's been almost a year since all this craziness has happened, and I think people have either learned to adapt to the new environment or they're still trying to cling on to what was once happening. And I think I've chosen to try to adapt to this new situation. And yeah, but from last year to this year, just being in quarantine, being in a pandemic, I think all artists lost all of our opportunities
Right.
because almost all of our opportunities are within community and are within sharing space and time together. Like literally,
Absolutely.
we all make things to be able to share with each other, and then we have reasons for community, and then we build community to have any more reasons to have community. And we all lost all of that, and it's kind of really crazy and really hard, but I think that it's something that can happen, and I think that's what you're trying to do here.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
Well, thank you for being a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think like this time, not only you brought up kind of like resiliency, it's definitely testing our resiliency, but it's also an opportunity for us to kind of explore ourselves, our identities outside of like our artistic network or our artistic persona, if you will. So, yeah. But yeah, what was kind of like your journey into becoming an artist? How did you find art as a medium to express,
Myself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I first started doing art until right now, I had a totally different idea of what art was and what art could do and what kind of art you could make and what was acceptable as art. Like, I thought that I needed to fit within this fancy box that was within the white cube. And I knew that after trying to, I don't know, trying to like start in a commercial path and then transition to being a fine artist was that, I don't know, was that switch, like wanting to be able to make something to be able to make a dollar versus making something that's beautiful is where I was able to separate from wanting to make just work that could be commercially viable or making something that could be really beautiful by trying to experiment with things that have never been done or made before. So yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Did you find that like when you were studying commercial photography, there wasn't really a lot of room for abstraction or discussion like that?
I think that there's more play on what you can get within the photograph. I mean, there's endless amounts of possibilities that can be within, I think, within commercial photography because, you're like what we have right here. We have a set, like you can create beautiful sets and do these like crazy designs and stuff like that. But but it's still within the confines of what photography has a standard of, and that's, being able to show something clearly.
Well, maybe
Trying to think.
you could kind of describe, like, was there certain situations that happened in your life where you kind of made the leap into like working in abstraction or working in performance or working in this or that, like
Oh, yeah,
that
sure.
shift in your mind and that shift in your creative process? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Like, yeah. So when I was before I was able-bodied and I wanted to make commercial photography, and I had the ability to do. I still well, even now and then, you have the ability to do whatever you want within whatever your reality is at that moment, and I had to make a very drastic change within my own reality because my reality changed. I wanted to, take the trajectory of working in commercial photography, and then I became disabled, and I wanted to die for a really long time. Like, I wanted to die for a really long time, and then I came out of that, and I started going back to school, and my first instances with art was connecting with the art that I made before I was disabled, and like printing the pictures that I made before I was disabled,
Yeah.
and like going back to the photography that I made as still trying to hold on to that identity, actually, like still trying to hold on to my able-bodied identity, like trying to rework photographs that I had made when I was able-bodied to when I became disabled. And I made a lot of like interesting like work that like I don't know, it was like fun, but it was like kind of dark at the same time.
Yeah.
It was like kind of dark, and then I had to let go of taking pictures with film. I had to let go of taking pictures with the camera. I had to let go of taking pictures with a manual camera. I totally transitioned to be a digital photographer, working with digital photography and like using my cell phone,
Yeah.
like literally, and because it was more accessible, and because I lacked mobility in my fingers, I had to become more creative and find different solutions to be able to make things happen that I have been told were not possible,
Yeah.
but I needed to make them a reality because I could see it in my mind.
Yeah.
Wow,
Absolutely.
that's really beautiful.
Yeah, I really love how you're bringing up kind of like the fact that you can do like whatever you want to do like in this reality. And would you say that like art was something that kind of helped you like empower yourself during that period of like depression that you're describing?
Yeah, because for when I first like came away from like letting go of like traditional photography, making art, and moving forward, um, well, disability, my disability was part of my identity that I didn't want to grapple with when I first started making art at all. I never, I never wanted to be forced to make work about the most obvious thing about me, even though even though my disability is like physically apparent because I don't have able passing privilege. Like you can look at me and you know that I have a disability. That's what that means. That's what that is. But I look less as disabled as I am. I don't know how else to describe that or say that, because it's not, because I don't have able passing privilege. Like nobody could look at me and think that I'm not like disabled, but I own my identity in a different way now. And before it was something that I carried, and now it's something I shine with.
Oh, that's so amazing. Like it was almost like a burden.
Yes,
before.
like for sure. Before it was like a burden, something I was just like, oh, I hope nobody notices, even though that's like kind of silly. But when you are disabled and you've had your body be a totally different way for your whole life, and you have to learn to love yourself in a totally different way. Yeah, you have to learn to love yourself and accept yourself in a different way in order to be able to allow yourself to be open to the newness of your life.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
And
I was just going to say it's incredible the transition that you've made in your life. It just seems like you've lived two different lives, and now you're empowering yourself with the ashes of the old life. and kind of like a phoenix rising above that and using that power that you have as the artist that you are today. And I really liked what you were saying before about reality, like, making your reality work for you, and I really think that's incredible. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you were just saying really transitions well into talking about your piece Access Denied, because I mean, in that, it's like not only are you making artwork that is about your relationship with what you've gone through and empowering yourself, I mean, now you're taking it to like a community level and really exposing like this big issue in the art scene, so like when you first started that piece, like were you ever like, oh, I wonder what they're gonna think, or did you ever have any concern about the reactions from the galleries you were calling out?
Well, I didn't want to make the work. I started just having this experience ever since I became disabled. And then when I actually was in grad school, like at Cal Arts, I was in a class and everybody was in the class and we were all photo media master students and we were going to Bergamot Station and we were all supposed to go to this gallery because we're all supposed to get like new exposure to a gallery and like, maybe talk to the curator, talk to the owner, and everybody could get in but me. And everybody was included but me, and I was in a class at one of the most top like prestigious art schools in the country, and I'm still going to an inaccessible gallery during my master's program. And it's 2015.
That's
and
incredible. Like,
so
not in a good way.
no. So that was my experience, and it was kind of it wasn't daunting. It was just something that I had already experienced, but I knew from like learning about performance art that what I was experiencing could be something that would be important to pay attention to. And just being able to draw attention to that experience could be a piece of art.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, and like I went from trying to think about it, and then that experience, I was the first time I recorded. That experience was the first time I recorded was when I was in grad school. Yeah, that was the first time I recorded.
So you just did it, and you didn't really have an idea that it was going to be anything.
No, nothing. I was just like, I my girlfriend, her name is Jasmine Urea. She's also a photo media installation artist in Los Angeles, and she lives in I don't remember where she lives. She lives off the 105. I can't remember. Sorry, Jasmine. But she was the one who recorded me, and I was just like, dude, just record this for me. So I don't know what we're gonna do with this, but like, look at these people are just going by me. Like they're just walking by me. I'm sitting here at the end of the stairs, and like they're just going by me. This is like too surreal.
Yeah,
and,
totally.
And then like I'm just sitting at the bottom of the stairs, and people are just like, oh, okay, like if I'm a fixture.
Yeah.
And then I kept that, and I talked about it while I was at grad school. Everybody at school told me that I was ridiculous and wrong and bad.
Really?
Wow.
Like I had
That's
mentors
so
and advisors telling me that I was pushing back against the wrong part of the community, that I was pushing back against people
as opposed to who?
Yeah.
as opposed to like big box galleries that have enough money to make things accessible.
Oh.
Yeah, or like a museum, or like like a high profile institution, like a high profile institution. But all those places have enough money to be able to be accessible.
Yeah, totally.
Like and
right.
but these places were independently owned by some people that actually went to Cal Arts, and so some of the mentors there were kind of taken aback by the situation, because then I would be attacking other people.
Were you surprised by the pushback, or were you hoping for more support or expecting it?
I expected support, but I didn't expect that.
Yeah, that's very surprising.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. They were more concerned about the reputation, of the space. Yeah, literally, they were more concerned about the reputation of the space than of the fact that I couldn't get in there.
That's
and
terrible.
like I shouldn't actually be paying attention to the fact that I shouldn't make note of it because they didn't have enough money to fix it. But they do have the ability to not rent from that place and continue to just be in that space and move to another one.
Yeah.
And yeah, I understand that rent's expensive, but that's your choice is to be open, and your choice is to be open to the public, and I'm included in that. And
Absolutely.
if you don't want to include me in that, then it's okay if I take note of it. And that's
Absolutely.
why I started. Well, so I had all this stuff like while I was there. So there was all these people telling me, no, don't do it. It's wrong, or it's not okay. And then I sat with that and then there was no time in grad school to actually go to shows. And like,
Yeah.
I mean, there was, but then not really. Not really till 2008 did I'm like, okay, am I going to do this? I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do this. And then I did it. And then I just started doing it. And then I started putting on Instagram. But in 2008, it took me 3 years to decide to put it on Instagram and start to make it a project.
Talk to us about your zine series, Why Bring Me Flowers When I'm Dead, when you had the time to do it when I was alive.
Yeah. So I have my zine, which is the title of your book, is the title of my book. Sorry, is the title of my books. They are in relation to my larger photo media installation work, but the zine is specifically a very intimate connection and celebration for the love that I have for my grandma. And
so
the whole project is for her and of that. And the zine is like a more intimate, quiet look at it that you can spend like touching the pictures and being close with them and being able to read the little bit of instances of the love and connection that we had together.
That is really beautiful. And can we purchase this online? Is it available?
Yeah. It's if you go to my website, JaklinRomine.com, there's a link there to my zine website too.
We'd also like to ask you kind of like about, these fabric pieces that you've been working with most recently. You're combining fabric, installation, and photography, and we have these beautiful resin pieces here, and we have these beautiful folded foam pieces. So what's kind of like interesting to you about working with fabric and shaping it, and talk about what excites you about that?
Well, I've heard that most artists have and take most of their experiences and all the things that they create from like the first 5 years of their life, or like when they're kids, like all the things that were heavily imprinted upon you, or things that people either make or gravitate towards, or sometimes they're rebelling against that exact thing that they're trying to do. And fortunately for me, my connection to this fabric and the foam are to my grandma's still too. Because both of my grandmas were seamstresses, and they made their own clothes, and they made their own clothes because they had to be able to have money to do other things, to have food, to buy groceries, or do whatever it was. But like, I have always been in the fabric district, and I've always been with the foam. I've always been in the hardware store because of my dad, and using all the different materials that I'm using. Everything that I'm using is stuff that I have used to make something at one point in time, and now I'm choosing to use those basic materials, seemingly basic materials, to create fine art.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how did you come to like collect a lot of these different objects? Like, did you get them in the fashion district, or did you get them from other people, or?
Oh yeah, well, all of the fabric here is from the fabric district here in downtown LA, and all of it was $1 a yard. All of it's for $1 a yard, except for the iridescent. Yeah. The iridescent organza. That was the only one that I paid extra money for. A little extra money for.
$4 a yard for our audience member.
Yes. And the foam, it just, like, when I had the opportunity to have the solo art show, and I had to make the work for the show. And I literally went to North Hollywood. I went to prop stores. I went to Lowe's. I went to a foam store. And then I was downtown looking at fabric. I had no idea what I was going to make or how I was going to make it. And I was just looking at things that I was attracted to, like literally. And I was in the foam store, and I saw these rolls of foam in these colors, and I was like, what is that? what do you what do you, how much is, and these things are very expensive. It's really crazy. Like one of these pieces of foam is like $100.
Really?
Like just it's like $100 for one of these pieces of foam. And
wow.
but it's because it's like literally used for something important. It's like used for like mattresses and like insulation in like a couch, or like if like most of these are used to protect art in travel actually. Like and I don't know, I was just attracted, I was naturally attracted to them, and their pliability and the possibilities that seem endless. So
Absolutely.
I picked them up, and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, but I'm gonna do something.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, what's your favorite material that you've worked with in installation?
I think printing my pictures on fabric.
Yeah.
I mean, being able to print my pictures on fabric was a totally transformational experience.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Yeah, that has been the thing that has changed my whole art career.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You want to talk just really briefly about the installation of Access Denied? You were using like computer monitors to display your images.
Oh, it's a TV actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
TV
Oh, yeah. I got like a really thin 55-inch, like regular TV, a flat screen TV, and then I had to edit all the video vertically, so I had to turn all the video vertically and did like 20 hours of video editing. My video is super simple, and it is only like image and video that I have myself, and I flipped it all vertically, and then I I turned the monitor vertically, and I leaned it up against the wall, so it's like sitting in the same position as I would be sitting in front of a space.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So it kind of requires the person to get on your level, like to look at it.
No, because you can be standing and looking at the video.
Right.
Because I mean, I was gonna make a reference to something outside of the frame, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But I was gonna say like how that picture is sitting up against the wall like that, and how it's like leaning off of it. That's kind of like how it is. It's like it just like leans up against the wall, and then
Yeah, it looks great like that.
Thanks.
I think it would be an amazing opportunity to just hear maybe some things from your experience that able-bodied people need to know about, artists with disabilities or just people with disabilities in general. Yeah.
Well, I think a good starting point is that all disabled people want to be included. Whether it's in physical space, whether it's in applications, whether it's in, having a reader, like on your visual representation, and we don't want to be treated as an other. And we're treated as others very often. And I understand art is like an edgy, on the skirts, or like, especially in LA, it's like actually not an edgy thing. It's like a very prominent, collegiate, like not collegiate, but like, there's money, there's power, there's like transactions that happen, and like people with disabilities just want to be people. Like we are just people. We just have extra help that we need, and we don't have to. We don't have to tell you what's up with us. It's not our responsibility, and it's it's not always open for discussion just because we're in space. How about that? Yeah, that's some good thing. Yeah, I mean, just because I come into your space, or just because I'm having a conversation with you, my experience of my life as a disabled person isn't just regular available information. Because people with disabilities, sometimes when somebody has a visible disability, like there's trauma that has caused that to happen. So just like if you were to randomly just come up to me and say, what happened to you? I know that most people in the art community are not like that at all. But like, it's, people with disabilities don't owe you their story. And people are not taught how to speak to people with disabilities because it's not like an important part of respectful conversation or whatever. But people with disabilities don't owe you their story, and that's one thing that people with able body privilege and understanding could take, that my story is available when we have an intimate connection, and instead of just when we are in public.
Totally. Yeah, so sometimes it's funny too, like you see this with like certain liberal type.
They
I don't know what
do.
to say.
They
And so
really
then they
do.
like overcome stuff up because it's like they secretly feel like uncomfortable. People
Yeah.
like they like bring that up and say it, and you're like,
They
dude,
really do.
stop.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just a person.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
really want to talk about that thing
Yeah.
that one time.
Totally.
So, yeah.
Totally. Yeah, that's really great to hear. Well, I really think that obviously with the reception that Access Denied has gotten, I really think that your work is helping bring attention to a lot of just like really important topics. So, thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. I know that I'm a thorn in some other people's sides, but I know
Not
that
in ours.
I'm the actual flower in other people's
Yes.
sides.
Absolutely a flower and a necessary thorn even.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy just like how much like what you're talking about earlier in the piece, how there's like so much money in the art world, but then it's like they don't want to like spend the money
Oh my
to
goodness.
do that, but then they're selling a painting for like $25,000.
Yes, 1,000%. Yeah. And even like early on in my career, before I even actually had a career, like I so wanted to be in the art world that I let my art be shown in a gallery that I couldn't even get into. And I never will do that ever again.
Yeah.
I'll never will do that ever again. But like I actually had an opportunity like really on to do that, and I'm glad that I never did that again, because I would be against my own better judgment now. But like I couldn't even get in. Why did I think that? Like, I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah. There's like something weird with the art world where it's like the donkey with like the carrot, and all the gallery owners are like trying to
always
act as if this is such a great opportunity, like you need us, and you're just supposed to accept like the crumbs that you get,
Yes,
but,
this is true.
So yeah,
but yeah, we are all like right now collectively making art. Yeah, all
totally.
together.
Yeah.
Well, now I think we're going to cut to our commercial break. Who knows what's gonna happen after? Maybe Jaklin will have her house after the commercial break. We don't know. But yeah, stay tuned. This is a word from our sponsors.
You don't want to miss this.
Do you ever find yourself sitting, alone, thinking what is the point of life? Having trouble getting motivated? On to day 5 of wearing the same sweaty, salty sweatpants? Does your back hurt? From years of existential weight, knowing that no self-help book will replace the knowledge that life is inherently meaningless and cannot be solved in 5 easy steps? Are simple things becoming harder and harder each day? Is life just one big fail? Ouch. Would you consider yourself an artist?
You're ugly inside! You're ugly inside!
Enough is enough. The pain ends here. No more existential dread, no more wasted days. This is the change you need.
want to get a body like mine? Call the Existential Crisis Unit today. Hey everyone, my name is Peter. Some of you may have heard about an existential crisis. An existential crisis is when you're shit on your luck. You don't know left from right, you don't know top from bottom, you don't know what's going on, and you are needing a purpose in life. Well, we have the company for you. The Existential Crisis Unit, here to work out all of your existential needs. Before I met ECU, I was ugly, I didn't have any money, I didn't have all these fancy clothes, and look at me now. I bought this house. Do I still have a mortgage? Ask the bank that. Thanks, ECU.
What are you most excited about in 2021?
Oh, wow. Well, last month I applied for a residency in Hamaya, Japan. And I have a really good feeling that I am gonna be there. I can feel the air breeze of the water off the coast of Japan, and I can see the mountain and the orange. I mean, not the orange. That's here. No, the blossom trees. Yeah, super
That's so
excited.
cool.
I'm so excited for you. I can
Yeah.
definitely visualize you there now.
So hopefully I get it. I find out in the next couple weeks.
That's awesome.
Yay.
Well, 2021, Jaklin's gonna be in Japan and maybe some other places. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. We'll see where I end up.
Yeah. What's that residency all about?
Well, it's a 2-month residency in Hamaya, Japan. A person, I don't know where they were from, but they went to there and they renovated a hotel, and they're turning this
so
hotel
cool.
into a artist residency.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so
That's
sick.
incredible.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. I think, or I know that there's going to be only good things in store for you. And thank you so much for, doing our show and providing us with such wonderful insight and,
Oh, thank you.
inviting us into your beautiful studio.
Yeah, thank you for coming, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. You can follow Jaklin on Instagram at JackEO. EO. That's right.
Yeah.
And visit her website to view her body of work at JaklinRomine.com,
Right.
which we shall put on the screen.
And if you like our videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also give us a like too, because you like it. And you can follow us on IG and also catch part of this episode on IGTV.
Till next time, thank you for watching tonight's episode of
Queerspace
TV.
Bye guys.